Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. It would be hubristic of me to assert that the following 14 attempts at wisdom have reached that high bar, but they are my best shots. First is to weigh contribution over happiness. That was the first idea that came to mind when I thought about wisdom. Yeah, the pursuit of happiness is deified in the Declaration of Independence, but the contributory, less happy person has lived a life better led than the happier, less contributory person. For example, the bricklayer who decides after an 8-hour day whether to build that security wall for that live alone granny rather than a bricklayer twin who decides instead to watch TV with a six pack. That former person clearly in my mind has lived a better life. Or take an extreme example. It's difficult to imagine Mother Teresa was happy amid the sewage stench of Calcutta's streets, her ankles ever bitten by scorpions. Yet most people would agree that her life was better led than, for example, the hedonist who spent as much time as possible on sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Your prioritizing contribution needn't send you to Calcutta. Simply, as you weigh how to spend your time, keep top of mind the idea of contribution's primacy. The second of my 14 attempts at wisdom is do good, certainly no evil. That paraphrase of Google's first corporate slogan speaks to me. There's nothing wrong with acting in your interest, but do weigh the net costs to others. For example, listeners of my work here or readers of my work know that I've often touted Trader Joe's. Well, Trader Joe's just shortened its hours at my local store, likely as a cost-saving measure. Every time I'm there between 9 and 10, plenty of people are shopping, and for people to be willing to come out and shop that late at night, it must be a real convenience for them or a necessity. But that doesn't seem to matter much to Trader Joe's, so much for we put our customers first. The third of my 14 attempts at wisdom is to just do it. Just because that phrase, just do it, is a corporate slogan gone cliche, doesn't invalidate its psychological underpinnings, that often additional rumination increases the risk of erroneous inaction more than the risks of just doing it. Even if the effort fails, much can often be learned from failure, and in having taken action, you're gaining in your sense of self-efficacy. The next in my 14 attempts at wisdom is don't chase money beyond a middle class income. Too often, the increase in happiness is dwarfed by the reduction in career options and an increase in stress and unethical temptations. These days, government jobs, especially federal, often offer a particularly enticing deal: competitive salaries, outstanding benefits, and non-Perel security of employment. Next, consider doing your career prep outside academe's halls, on the job, apprenticeship, self-teaching, perhaps augmented by online or in-person courses. Community college, by the way, and the university extension programs tend to be particularly good at career preparation because they're longer on practice than theory. Next, build on your strengths. Remediate weaknesses only to the extent crucial to your personal and professional success. Next, seek the right level of granularity. A major cause of inefficiency, of lack of productivity, is doing things too perfectionistically or too slapdash, too little or too much focus on the details. Of course, sometimes we choose to be granular because it's fun or crucial, but don't just automatically choose high granularity or low granularity. Decide on a case-by-case basis. Next, maintain very high standards in choosing a long-term relationship partner. The 50% divorce rate doesn't fully describe the problem. Many unhappy couples stay together for the kids or simply because of inertia. In good long-term relationships, yes, the parties should have similar levels of sexual attraction, but also enjoy being with each other outside the bedroom. Both need make a good income, not only to ease finances, but it's a proxy for being emotionally together enough for an employer to pay them decently. And each partner needs to not have a fatal flaw, a violent temper, significant mental illness, be a spendaholic, a substance abuser, and so on. My next attempt at wisdom: think hard before marrying as well as before having children. In many subcultures, getting married and having kids is de rigueur. But given the percentage of unhappy marriages and the nearly unequal sacrifice incurred by having children, clear-eyed reflection is required. Of course, some people find their marriages and their kids to be their life's highlights, but quietly, many other spouses and parents harbor deep doubts. Next, hire slow, fire fast. Especially today, when legal protections often make terminating an employee a long nightmare, take the time to poll your respected colleagues and friends for people you should invite to apply for a job. Then use simulations and probes of stated accomplishments to get a more valid indicator of the person's likely success on the job than is provided by answers to stock interview questions like, "Tell me about yourself," and "What are your greatest strengths and weaknesses?" Devalue references. Nearly everyone can find positive ones. And after hiring, if the employee starts out poorly, spend a little time on remediation. If that suggests that the employee won't soon become even an average performer, before implementing the formal pre-termination procedure, it's often wise to try to counsel the person out, maybe helping the person find a better suited position. Next, allocate your time and money to what will make a bigger difference, even if it's not to the neediest. Every battlefield medic knows to use limited resources not on the sickest, but on those with the greatest potential to profit. My next attempt at wisdom: be moderate in most things, especially diet and exercise. I'm no MD, but in light of the ever-changing health recommendations, logic suggests it unlikely that marathoning, triathloning, or high-intensity exercise, tripling your heart rate for 5 minutes out of the long 24-hour day, can long-term be salubrious. I feel similarly about intermittent fasting. Very high-fat diets like keto and very low-fat diets like Ornish. I like Michael Pollan's moderate recommendation: as much fruit and especially vegetables as you want, and small quantities of the rest. My next attempt at wisdom: this seems plebeian, but it's not. Dollar cost average into Vanguard. I am not a licensed financial advisor, but many of them say that you could do far worse than to, after you've stocked a few-month rainy day fund, every time you have an extra few $100, don't try to time the market. Just immediately put it into a Vanguard all-in-one fund that matches your risk tolerance or time horizon. Vanguard funds offer fine diversification and performance at a rock-bottom fee. Also, most people should fund tax-deferred vehicles such as IRA, SEP IRA, 401k, 403b, 457, and or 529 plans before funding other investments. And finally, never look back. My dad rarely talked about the Holocaust. When I asked why, he said, "Martin, the Nazis took 5 years from mine life. I won't give them 1 minute more. Never look back. Always take the next step forward." And I've had 5,500 career and personal coaching clients, including some of the world's most successful people and some real strugglers. And while nearly everyone has had bad, often very bad things happen to them, my successful clients have been far more likely to have followed my father's advice. So, is there anything in the 14 attempts at wisdom that I've offered that you don't already do but might want to? And as always, I welcome your thoughtful comments, and even more so, your favorite wise idea. Put it in the comments below, and of course I welcome your thumbs up thing or thumbs down if you feel it's appropriate, and sharing it on social media. There are options right there underneath this video. Anyway, I am Marty Nemko, and thank you for watching.